Hello, guys. This is your boy Kofi Hemming, and sorry, I was having problems with my stream going on. I don't know what's wrong, but I have to figure out how to get that one fixed. But today is a day for our Chicago Bears versus Minnesota Vikings predictions. And today I'm going to be reading off some statistics. Before I actually read this off, make sure you subscribe to my channel called Kofi Hemming. And I'm going to be changing up some things just in my past video that I just made. I'm going to be changing up my video. Um, I don't want it to make it be too much be only Bible based, but I also want to focus on current events and sports and a lot of stuff that's going on in the world. But yeah, just make sure you subscribe to my channel and go to my page, Speak Your Life, on my YouTube, on my Facebook channel, on my Facebook, where you can also receive motivational quotes. All right. So today, the Chicago Bears faced the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday. And the last time we faced the Minnesota Vikings, well, I'm pretty sure you guys already know what happened. It was a stinker, man. It was a big stinker. It was a big stinker, guys. And Nick Foles actually started that game on Monday Night Football, and yeah, we had so many injuries. The offensive line was hurt. David Montgomery suffered a concussion the previous game, and it was really bad. And I know Nick Foles. He threw for over 100 yards that game. He had one interception, and the only time we really scored was from our special teams. We had no offensive score. And so hopefully things change for this Sunday. I know these past three games, the Bears offense has been looking very good. Um, Pretty much the whole entire year, the Bears offense has been pretty bad. The first two games did look promising with Mitchell Trubisky starting. Those first three games, well, actually the first two games until he got benched in Atlanta. But those first two games, the Bears were averaging over 20 points per game with Mitch under center. And when Nick Foles was under center, they were averaging less than 15 points per game. Those games that Nick Foles started. And ever since Mitchell Trubisky came back into the fold, the past three games, the Bears offense has been looking very competent. They've been looking like a top unit, like a top five unit. You know, I even read in one of the reports that these past three games, the Bears have been averaging 30.3 points per game, which is second behind Green Bay. And they've been averaging more yards per game, which is number three. Passing, rushing has been up there. And really, with Bill Lazor calling these plays with Mitchell Trubisky under center, our offense has been looking very competent. You know, and Matt Nagy, as you guys can see, is someone who is I still think he needs to get fired, in my opinion, because he ruined Mitchell Trubisky's development. I don't know why a lot of people want Mitchell Trubisky to go because I still think that he has some type of potential in the NFL. Because when I really look at his skill sets, I really do think under the right system and under the right play calling that this guy can be at least an above average QB in the league, probably like an Alex Smith type. But if you like utilize his abilities to the top of his abilities, he could be like a Steve Young, because he in a way his ceiling is like Steve Young, but his floor is almost like who's that one quarterback? His floor is Kyle Orton. Yeah, Kyle Orton. And y'all know Kyle Orton. He played for the Chicago Bears, but we're not saying anything. But yeah, he's pretty much like if he were to maximize his abilities, I mean, to the best of his abilities, he's almost like a Steve Young in a type of way because Steve Young, he had legs and he didn't have much of a deep pass, but uh he could read some coverages and he threw while he was running. So while he was throwing while he was running, the play calling would run like a bootleg or they'll run like a RPO type of offense. And that is more of what Mitchell Trubisky's offense is. He's more of a bootleg type RPO offense. He's not a under center pocket passer. That's not who he is. But yeah, these past 3 games, the offense has been looking good. David Montgomery has been averaging for over the past 3 games over 100 yards per game. The last game he rushed for over 80 yards, which was a big run that we needed. And I still think that with this Packers game, if the defense, didn't give up so many plays, so many big plays against the Green Bay's um, offense, then we still would have had a chance in that Green Bay game. But the defense, they didn't really care. They wanted to shove it up, the Chicago management's face and the offense's face because they were tired. And I kind of get it, but at the same time, you also got to play hard. But if the defense would have made those types of stops, it would have been a close game than would have been expected. Instead, we got blown out by Green Bay. But these past 3 games, we have been looking good. With Detroit, we had 30 points. Of course, Green Bay, we had 25. And this past game, when we also blew out the Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, Deshaun Watson, he didn't have any of his weapons. But think about it, guys. Some of the defenses that we played, we couldn't even move the ball against. Some of the worst defenses, like Tennessee, um, like the Saints. Their Saints defense is not all that great. We couldn't even move the ball against them. And so we couldn't even move the ball against some of the worst defense. Even Minnesota, yeah, the Minnesota game. Minnesota's defense is not even that great. But with David Montgomery coming back with Mitchell Trubisky's under center, this whole offense looks completely different. And I'm going to read off some of the statistics. So the Chicago Bears offense right now ranks 21, uh, ranks 29th in points per game. The passing yards is 29th. Total yards 28th. Rushing yards is 31st. Yards per game is 30th. But on the defensive side, we're ranked 6th in points per game, 16th in passing yards. Rushing has been great. It's been 14th, and the total yards is 16th. So we're kind of in the middle of the pack. As for Minnesota's offense, there are 6 in offense and points per game. Passing yards, they're 17th. Rushing yards, they are second, and total yards ninth. And the reason why their rushing yards is second is because they have Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook over this past year has rushed for over 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. We got to make sure that we contain Dalvin Cook if we ever want to win this game. If you give Minnesota's offense any type of run game, because their whole offense is predicated towards Dalvin Cook eating. Pretty much Dalvin Cook rushing up the middle, going through those outside zones, making sure that he's going outside, finding those open holes. If you give him any type of good run game, then that's going to be trouble for our defense. We have to contain Dalvin Cook so we can make Kirk Cousins one-dimensional. And Kirk Cousins, he's been having a pretty good year, an underrated year. He is averaging 27 touchdowns to 13 interceptions, and he's been having a passer rating of 87.6, which is pretty good. It's pretty solid for a quarterback. And a lot of people say he sucks, but he's been having a pretty solid season, even though his team has been playing so great. But with Kirk Cousins, he's having a solid season. I think he's very underrated. I think he is very underrated. But the first the first Um, if you want to beat the Minnesota Vikings, the first way is to contain the run game, stop the run game. Um, the second one is to make them be one dimensional. Make Kirk Cousins throw the ball. Make him beat you with his arm. Because we already know that if you allow Kirk Cousins to drop back, um, if you allow him to drop back in that line of scrimmage, chances are, you're gonna get to him real quick. And the Minnesota Vikings offensive line, they've been getting up a lot of sacks. These past two games, or just this past game, they gave up 6 sacks. And so if you make him one dimensional, then you have a good chance. The third one is to establish a run game with the Chicago Bears offense. Establish a run game. Matt Nagy, Bill Lazor, you have to make David Montgomery uh, carry the ball for 20 to 25 carries at least, man, because this guy's a workhorse. This guy's the real deal. Our identity is based off of David Montgomery and the run game. If you make sure that you give him 20 to 25 carries, and also you can even establish or even give Cordell Patterson some of those carries, then we're going to win that game. Because if you establish the run game through David Montgomery, it's going to make Mitch's life more easier when they're doing a bootleg pass or when they're doing a RPO. The fourth thing is that the defense needs to apply pressure, 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 pressure. And this also goes with making the Minnesota Vikings offense one-dimensional. But Chuck Pagano, I'm telling you, man, like our two secondaries that are out is Deion Bush and Jalen Johnson. I just read on the report that Deion Bush and Jalen Johnson are out. So, man, that defensive line has to step up. Like, they got to apply pressure on the Minnesota Vikings defense because the Minnesota Vikings offense has two pretty good solid receivers in Justin Jefferson, who has over 1,000 yards as a rookie, which is crazy, and you have Adam Thielen, who's one of the top wide receiver, one of the most underrated receivers in the league. And those guys, they can take the top off of a defense in a drop of a hat. And if you ever give them any time, game, it's Bears defense is going to have a long day. And so what we have to do is that Chuck Pagano has to apply pressure, 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 pressure. Send an all-out blitz on Kirk Cousins. Make him fluster him, make him guess. Because if you apply pressure, we have a good chance of winning. And so, guys, my final prediction for this game is 27-16 Chicago Bears. And I have Mitchell Trubisky with 2 passing touchdowns. And I have David Montgomery with he rushes for over 100 yards and he gets 1 touchdown with a couple field goals in there. And of course, my offensive MVP is David Montgomery, and my defensive MVP is going to be Khalil Mack. I have Khalil Mack at least getting a sack and a half, a couple forced fumbles, and yeah. And also, this game is also a must-win because this is going to have a playoff feel to it. If we lose to the Vikings, you could pretty much say goodbye to our playoff hopes because we would have to let the Vikings lose 2 straight to the Lions and to the New Orleans Saints. And we know that the Lions are going to be Lions. They're not going to lose out. And they'll already have the tiebreaker even if we go 8-8. So this game is a must win for us. This is going to have a playoff feel, a playoff pressure feel. So Mitchell Trubisky and this offense has to step up if they want to make a statement to the NFL. And so, guys, this is your boy Kofi signing out. And I just wanted to make this quick video to do this Chicago Bears versus Minnesota Vikings predictions. So this is Kofi signing out. Bye-bye.